Welcome everybody to the Onward VR Master League Season 14, Week 2. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I will be your sole conductor in today's journey into a high-tier EU battle. One that's been going on now for several seasons, with no fun intended. Being a team since Season 12, with players that have been around longer than that. And BossFight, obviously, a team that's been within the VRML since its inception. So that's over 14 seasons. Granted, that roster has changed a substantial amount, but you still do see some old bald heads like Radar Head in there. Keeping up the roster, we'll see if they get brought into the matchup here this afternoon. I am seeing them in lobby, so indeed we will see the Chrome Dome coming into play here this afternoon, which will be exciting. But yes, 2 very good teams, master tier teams that have a lot of Onward experience going up against each other today. And it's going to be a showcase, a display, a good learning experience for anybody new or anybody that wants to see what the best of the best can do in a game like Onward. Let's get right into the pick bans for the day. If you're not familiar with Onward, it is a 5 versus 5 military simulator. Home team, which is no fun intended, gets to ban 2 maps, Subway and Snow Peak. The away team, which is BossFight, also gets to ban 2 maps, Suburbia and Tanker. This is from a predetermined map pool at the start of the season. The home team, no fun intended, then gets to pick the first map that we will play on, and they have chosen Bazaar. Bazaar is a characteristically close quarters map with some long range angles, lots of penetrable cover, and very challenging objectives to effectively defend. We see a lot of very good cat plays coming in on Bazaar, and I anticipate we'll see some of those here with no fun intended in BossFight. And then obviously these bans, if we do dive deeper into these, they kind of help determine what we may be seeing in the future for this series. With Subway being a close quarters map, Snow Peak being a long range, it seems to me that no fun intended are either banning maps from boss fights that are strengths or maps that they don't feel confident on going up against BossFight. BossFight banning Suburbia and Tanker, the clear picture there, they don't want to engage with no fun intended in those close quarters maps. They want to extend things out. We still do have close quarters maps like Arctic on the table here, so we could still go to if not maybe the closest quarters map that's out there. But you know, we do have some custom maps in the rotation this season, and so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what kind of battles we get between these 2 teams. And again, Bazaar is where we will be kicking things off. We are just now waiting for the remainder of BossFight to hop into lobby, and then we will be getting into our first round. But yeah, a little insight into the NFI roster. Looks like we're going to be having Just Do It, Jittery List, Deadshot, 04, and Shadow Warrior at the helm here this afternoon. And on BossFight, we're still waiting on a 5th, but so far, Little Sayonara, Shook, Radar Head, Legal, and who would be that usual 5th suspect? If we go and look at their roster, we would know. Have to pull up the match page. Theories. If we go to vrml.com/onward, find all the information you need. Scooby, obviously. How could I be forgetting Scoob on BossFight? They'll be jumping in on BossFight to fill out that 5th on their roster, and it looks like we have a full room ready to go. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we will be doing here for our first round of the day. And again, a quick look at the active rosters. Our first objective taking us over to the tank side. Far northeast corner of the map, if I have my settings correct. Yes, indeed. Very interesting to see how NFI attack this round 1 on BossFight. Several ways that you can be aggressive out the gate. You can definitely push up middle street. You can take the longer route and rotate all the way around the south street. Typically, the south street gets a little bit lower priority on defense, so you may only run into 1 or 2 defenders. If you can root them out, then you can gain control of an objective entry point onto the back end of Tanker. And again, Bazaar, a map that does have a lot of penetrable cover. As we go through the map, you have your middle lane, but also all of the penetrable cover in the middle Bazaar. The Kayat building here, another classic objective placement building, very hard to defend. You also then have the Northeast Bazaar, the Northeast Courtyard. There's plenty of names for it. I actually don't know what the most common name for this space would be, but another objective placement here. One dead center at the Humvee and one far in the on the other end of the map over in the northwest. But it looks like with enough stalling, both teams are ready to go, and we'll be diving into round number 1 on map number 1 here between these two teams. Top squads in the EU, NFI and BossFight. Former champions, I believe both. Actually, I don't know about NFI, but I know BossFight have won VRML seasons in the past, and so let's see what we get. Again, round number 1 here, so I anticipate a little bit more maybe cautious pushing, but it should be calculated as well. You know, Sayonara is set up. If they had gone up onto that upper patio space, they would have been identified by Deadshot, who's looking for the angle now. But they've instead taken up a very late angle that they will be able to fire on Shadow as they cross out. They just barely missed the initial shots, but they do follow up with more that do connect, and that's going to be the first kill. NFI going down, trying to cross without any smokes. They wanted to get across the South Street. They want to just do it in Deadshot to follow up with that cross, but ultimately doesn't look like it's going to happen here as Do It and Deadshot are stalled. Shots coming in from Lego as 2 did dip across. We're going to have to zip over to Radar Head, who is going to be running into this duo soon. Nice connection from Radar. Is Radar aware that Jittery is here? Radar asked for clarification. Did 1 cross or 2? They're going to get the clarification that 2 have crossed. More suppressive fire here coming from Lego as Radar does dance around. That audio suppression potentially deafening Jittery to Radar's movements, but if it's not there, then Jittery definitely heard Radar there on the other side of the wall, and that's why they're playing cautiously. Ooh, Deadshot does get across Little Sayonara. So now 1 in the south as well. BossFight are getting a little bit surrounded, but they have control. All 5 alive. They have coverage. Well, actually very little coverage in the south. So if they do get around in the south, it is going to be a potential danger point. If Radar goes down here, Jittery has a lot of control over this defense. So they are sort of... well, it's risky. In some ways. They have Shook, who I guess can follow up on any shots that do come off to Radar. The south side, though, does look woefully undefended. Deadshot should be able to easily work down this street here until Lego... yeah, and Lego is actually inside the dark room, so they won't see any rotations along the south street. So there's a big free cross there from Deadshot, but just Deadshot. Just Do It is in between 2 defenders here. And Jittery List still battling Radar Head and Lego. Or at least trying to suss out where the defense is. They've heard Radar. Radar's identified, and the rotation comes in, and there's the pinch. Also, Sayonara on the back end, going past Just Do It and pushing in to find that kill. So now Deadshot and Do It with some control over the middle street here. Feeling a little nervous after Sayonara has taken shots behind them. BossFight looking very good on defense. 5 alive to just 2 of NFI. Up there from Radar. Deadshot tries to find the refrag. Can't quite tag him. He's going to rotate right into Scoob, and they're going to find a great snapshot. M203 smoke comes out. We don't see that in first person. They hear Lego's comms, so they're going to push Lego. Lego's inside dark room, so Deadshot's going to assess that and then continue their push forward here. Comms are coming in. Sayonara has a clean line. That smoke is not covering Deadshot's angle, and it's going to be a trade up through the middle. BossFight with 3 left alive, and a decent attempt from the final pusher, but ultimately a very good defense. The Chrome Dome coming in with 3 and 0. You love to see it. Shoutouts to Radar, longtime VRML veteran. Update your score lines. BossFight taking their first defensive round. Not terribly surprised to see it. Taking a gander at chat, seeing what the general thoughts are on the squads this afternoon. See some shout out to you, Mystics. Appreciate the compliment there. I see Bobby in here, Tipic hanging out. Diego. Appreciate you all stopping by and enjoying the action, getting your wagers in on who you think will win map 1. Although at this point, you would have already had to do that, so. Oh well. We're going to jump into round number 2 here. Both teams readied up, and if you're not familiar, we swap sides. We stay at the same objective placement at the back of the tanker, but BossFight now attack and, no fun intended, defend. When you attack, there are multiple potential spawn points. You don't know where you will spawn, and so as you can see, BossFight have gotten a spawn point that places them much closer to the objective. This means that, no fun intended, if they're not ready for a very quick push, could be caught off guard. Most teams prepare for every spawn, and so their defenses typically are safe enough. And as you can see, Legal here does find the first kill, but Shadow Warrior identifies the spawn from BossFight. There's only one way you can find those shots this early, and it's if you spawn at the back of Kayat. Just Do It picks up on Radar Head, potentially trying to rotate around the north, and we're even 4-4. A late angle held here by Jittery List as Shook has time to duck in behind some cement cover, and one crosses. Scooby close on the corner. Jittery's going to drop back into some safer cover. And with suppressive fire, Shook is going to bolt their way over across the street. Scooby here with an M203, likely I think it has to be a smoke. I don't think you're allowed to use grenades here, but a great headshot from Deadshot. Gonna be Scooby going down up through the center. BossFight down with 3, but they have 2 across south. NFI left with 4. One over in the east, so technically a 3v3 in some ways. Jittery here up the middle. If Sinor and Shook avoid it, they can push south, but I just don't know if they're going to keep that push going in the south. Meanwhile, Legal is held up. Oh, what a nade.
Got down, Oscar.
You can see the arc there. Sayonara finds the nade toss in onto Jittery. And that's going to be an impossible res. No one's going to be able to cross the street unless there's several defensive smokes available. Nice pickup there from Just Do It, patiently waiting in the deep corner. They will find Sayonara.
One south, one south.
Meanwhile, in the south, 04 identifies Shook, trying to make that cross through the south street. Interesting to see no sight here. Iron sights coming in from 04. Maybe prioritizing some utility picks or body armor. Something we really rarely often talk about because it's not accurate, represented in the spectator screen in any capacity. The loadouts vary drastically between players, between teams, between objectives, and what you want to push. How many smokes do you want to take? Do you want to go with that body armor? Are you going to be in a point of risk where you're going to need that extra impact? There's a lot of calculations that can go into a loadout, and it's something we almost never talk about. But interesting to see 04 again with just the irons there on that AK. And BossFight left with just 2. Just Do It here has a line onto Legal, but they're not going to see Legal proning their way across through the north. And if Just Do It does get a little bit too aggressive here, they could end up pushing themselves out across the street where Legal could find an angle. Legal could actually identify Do It here. Oh my gosh, Just Do It can't see him behind the pillar. So Legal is going to make it around Just Do It's line of sight. Do It should be periodically checking behind them, though, which I imagine they will. So it's all going to come down to Onward timing. Meanwhile, up through the center, Shook advancing forward. Jittery is still there, able to communicate anything that they're seeing as they're downed, because they're not completely killed. So Shook, Deadshot just has to wait until Shook is really out in the open, and then they can pop out for a kill. Oh, they're not going to see Shook out in the open. Shook starts things off. It's a big kill up to the middle. There's the rotation on the backside. Legal finds a big kill. BossFight have found the key defenders, and suddenly there's only one left. It's 04, who's stuck over in the south. The objective's open, and they have to come crashing back in a hurry.
Shit, it's just me.
And this is a dangerous place to be. Shook here on the inside path could be catching 04 completely exposed. Luckily, they tuck inside. They're aware of this potential threat here still on this side, but as they check, Shook rotates back in. Legal's still here in the east. There's a minute 50 left, so there's a lot of time that 04 has here that they're going to have to sit and defend alone. What a great headshot from 04. Looks behind them for Shook to follow up, but doesn't see any approaching. Now that they have that kill, they're going to rotate out into a tucked-in corner, and they're going to defend from the potential approach from the other side, the way that Shook is exactly coming from. It's a great rotation. One made off of likely a confident kill count. They know that they had 3. 04 knows that's the 4th, and they have a good sense that Shook is still here in the south. So they know now it's a 1v1 with Shook likely approaching from the south. That's why 04 is watching the middle street, because he wants to make sure nobody crosses across the middle street to rotate it back over to the north. And so really they have Shook kind of pinched into the back half of this map. It's all about the approach though. Shook could toss utility flashes, whatever they have. There's no easy cap route, that's for sure. Man, just the rotation here from 04. So smart to get them the cover they need. The Shook is here looking. They certainly heard 04. As soon as 04 checks up through this grade, it's going to be bad news. And Shook is making sure they stay silent. If Shook makes a sound, 04 is going to pop up. Oh, and they see them. Shook pushes in, fires. 04 is going to toss up a flash over the top. No, it's a nade. It sits in the inside. Shook has to rotate around the corner. The pistols come out, and BossFight win the round with Shook taking it with a pistol kill. What a comeback from the BossFight squad. Clipped that and shipped that. The last 3 minutes of that round. Wow. Come on. Week 2? I mean, week 1 was an absolute banger too. The first game of the entire season went down to a round 7 map 3. And granted, BossFight are now in a 2-0 lead, but what stellar play from them. The patience, the prone cross from Legal to get behind the defense. That's good execution right there. That's good. The pistol to wrap it up. I mean, come on. Granted, it comes down to the thing you almost all what you see so far too often, but the trade to finish a round. But I mean, BossFight gets that win, and what a clutch. I think at one point it was a 2v4, if I'm not mistaken. So a tough pill for NFI to swallow, because it was a solid defensive round until it wasn't. Now they go on the attack, with our next objective being dead center at the Humvee. What a play. And a shout out to Baza in chat, saying that they're watching him big screen. You love to see that. Super big. I see Snooper in here, Miro, Phantom Operator, Leo. Shout out to everyone hanging out, tuning in. Appreciate you stopping by. So far, a good one. You're right to be here. You're right to be here. Into round number 3 we go.
Did you understand that side?
No, I'm going to go home.
Oh, you're going home. You go. Copy.
Watch out for free fire.
Look at this NFI push. Full send northeast. Definitely want to have some smokes, but the smokes give your push away. They risk doing a dead cross. Maybe send 04 as the initial victim. And ooh, that's a smart rotation. They peek the quick corner and push into some fast coverage. They draw out the shot without risking the cross, and it does tell them that they need the smokes. We're going to get a double stack that's going to nicely cover. And both 04 and Jittery will be able to cross here. Another smoke on the other side of the tank. And it is a full press. Jittery makes it through the periodic fire. Dead shot as well. 04 was suppressive over the top. Pushes back the shots through the smoke. That's going to be NFI making their way across free and clear. But information given, BossFight should be rotating effectively off of what they're seeing and hearing here. And as you can see, radar does tuck into the deep south. About as far as he can go, back up against the wall and waiting.
I'm the only guy in the south. Will I go down and remember
For any movements here in the south. Here, radar. Making sure the team knows that if radar's dead, then that's information they have to work with.
You keep northwest clear for now.
But it is a heavy south stack. 4 up here. Shadow, Deadshot, 04, Jittery, all slowly and methodically pushing their way through. Right, radar is not likely to catch them unaware or unprepared, but it is a bit of an off-meta position. Typically, you'll see defenders tucking a little bit further back behind the wall, using that crack as cover, and you can see Jittery identifying if any defenders are there. You'll have players tucked in behind or inside this that inside the corner. You'll have players tucked in here. You'll have players tucked in behind the corner of this wall. And so there is still a lot of space that NFI has to clear out if they do want to try and work their way all the way up to radar.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna try. Fuck it. Oh my god.
I think he's in front of us in the garage. One of them.
What the?
Just pre-fire. Sorry. I know I scared you.
Bullets coming over the shoulder of Shadow there. A little too close for comfort, but no harm. We want to keep the eyes on the south, but we also need to apparently keep an eye on Just Do It, who has gotten themselves... What was I say? Oh yeah, Just Do It is not actually that close. It's up across the street. I thought they were closer to this. Jittery list. Just on the other side of Sayonara there. We're going to have to cut over to Shadow Warrior because they could be running into radar here shortly. Shook finds one. Smokes come up to blind. So Jittery can push in. Another smoke on the other side, hopefully to distract Shook away from this. Radar fighting off two as Deadshot pushes in. Can't find the shots through the wood. Jittery List does catch the kill inside Blue Room, though, has control. As far as taking stock, Storage took. Just Do It is just outside. And could start pinching in, but Jittery needs the help. Legal is on the rotation back. Radar swinging heavily. Aggressively catches Jittery in a trade. 1v1. Now Just Do It's left alone. Trying to identify where Shook is here. One minute left into a 1v3 as the res on radar comes in. Definitely a tall order for Just Do It, but NFI definitely not looking too bad here up against BossFight. Putting them through certainly a good test, but BossFight playing very good. I mean, again, that Marsoc win was huge, and now they're stabilizing on defense, so Just Do It is not going to have an easy time entering in with 30 seconds left. There's the head, but Do It doesn't see radar on the second floor. Not sure where they anticipate them to be, but BossFight take a solid 3 rounds. Exciting stuff and exactly what I like to see out of the top, the top players in league. They're executing plays, plain and simple. And as those plays get picked apart, they run into some issues. You have to improvise. Then it's the nature of Onward. You almost never have a plan go perfect, and so you have to be able to adapt and adjust based off of people going down or people staying up. And Radar really playing a big key defensive position there in the south to pick up the 2, then rotate into the center, find that trade. 3 kills there that really saved BossFight from that round spiraling out of control. So big shout out there to, again, Radar, who's playing very well in this first round on Bazaar, and BossFight up 3-0. Good place to be for them on their opponent's map pick. It means that when they go and pick their map for map number 2, they can go wherever they want. BossFight obviously have been improving on, consistently every season, better and better at the close range combat, and if anything have turned into a team that's almost better at the mid to close range than they are at long range. But they do still have the skilled shooters on their team. So I don't know exactly where we're going to go for round 2. Looking at their bans, they obviously took away some very close quarters maps. Subway's also off the table. Snow Peak is gone, but there is still some long range stuff on the table here. So I'm not entirely sure where we're going to head for map number 2. I'd like to see what you people in chat think. But yeah, into the action we go. NFI been playing good. That was a great offensive push that they tried to execute on, but couldn't quite pull it together. And now we'll see if they can start the comeback train. They're going to need to win 4 in a row. Same objective, swapping sides. NFI go on the defense. BossFight stacking all 5 up initially, but no one heading east and everyone up through the center or into the deep west side of the map.
Please tell me that wasn't our nade. I said he won't be there yet. We're not even a minute in.
Interesting. Gleaming info here. Radar identifying for us that was a friendly nade.
Naded it, so.
As they were trying to predict where someone would be, but Radar seems to want to have had that silence. Wanted to rotate across and potentially cross the street with nothing. It's a risky play to make, but there's not really a clean line here across this street. Deadshot is periodically checking, but there is opportunity. Jittery is also, I think, holding the east, and so, there's moments where this street's completely uncovered. If there's no smoke to indicate that anyone should be pushing here, then it could be a solid push, but here come the smokes. Scooby with an M203 smoke onto the door. The window, another smoke to cover Shadow, and it should give them solid enough coverage that they'll be able to get across this street without getting killed. There's some blind fire from Shadow through the middle smokes. On the backside, Lego makes the cross. Just Do It is deep to defend. Sayonara is going to make it across here, and I wonder if they're going to be ready for Just Do It on the backside. Maybe Lego will be able to support. Jittery list finds Scooby, and BossFight are down to 2. NFI with a very clean defensive round here. And BossFight, maybe a little bit of a fumble there, again, with that early nade coming in, potentially giving away their position in the south, and the smokes coming in, it wasn't necessarily a surprise for NFI like they were potentially hoping for, and so. Oh, and Just Do It calls out. Gives the info to Sayonara. Shadow's going to push in through the doorway. It's a nice double kill. Opens it up into a 1v3, which isn't impossible for Lego here. BossFight still in this one, and they've managed to pull some comebacks together already today. That's the question, does Lego risk verifying that kill? It was a clean headshot, so no comms are coming through, but... Oh my, Deadshot. Pre-firing a corner there, anticipating maybe somebody was very close. Indicator to me that NFI doesn't have an accurate identifier of where Lego is here. And Lego is making a pretty risky rotation. They have this whole south side they're not necessarily worrying too much about because they have to watch up through the center objective. They're going to tag Deadshot on the leg there. It's not going to be enough to down him. Could be body armor in play there as well. Flash comes in. Where that went, but Jittery does end up rotating out, and their back's exposed. Lego's going to find the first kill. They're going to need to snap around a Deadshot, but Deadshot doesn't peek in time, and they're able to tuck in a clean kill from Lego playing Ring Around the Rosie. 1:20 on the clock. They have time to work down 2 more kills. Lego checking time. I would know you could put your watch on your right hand, but apparently you can. Deadshot seems tucked in. 04 is watching over Deadshot, and so the outsides of Deadshot are somewhat covered by 04. And time is ticking. There's only 30 seconds left now for Lego to push in. 04 is going to toss out a nade. They're going to find Deadshot. They know the nade came out from Blue Roof, so they're going to swing that. And they find the kill. Lego clutches it for BossFight with an insane 1v3. Oh, what a hard pill to swallow if you're on the NFI side of things this afternoon, folks. That is a 4-0 and a dirty one at that. Wow, NFI have to go fully and reset for this next map. That is brutal. 2 rounds that they'd won were solidly in their hands and then lost. 5v2 at one point. See Haywire, surprised by no ban on Downfall. We're gonna have to do a little technical magic behind the scenes here while we sort out our next lobby, so do please time here. Like the bets were on Downfall, but indeed it is going to be this one. You could have seen this one coming too. Quarantine for map number 2. Similar style to Bazaar, and that there are some close quarters elements, but this definitely has the range. Options for flanks, for collapse attacks, you know, for to completely surround your opponent and then push in off of a time. There's a lot of varied strategies on Quarantine here that BossFight have almost pioneered in some cases. And so I think they're definitely going to be looking and feeling confident here. Just into lobby. Full. And we'll get ready to jump back into the action for map number 2. Shout out to anyone that is hanging out here today. Again, I do appreciate you. I think we've said it a couple of times already, but love seeing the EU folk drop by. Love seeing the NA folk in the afternoon hang out. Onward is booming, man. and I am happy to be casting it here for now, like the 6th year, I think. It's crazy to think how long this game has been going. And you know, I posted this on Twitter, and this is here, and this is, there's no verified information behind this. This is my own NightFiree TM theory. But if you go to the Onward Twitter, they recently posted a screenshot where they had favorited rendering. At least that's my opinion. A screenshot with favorited rendering. And Onward, it's on Onward's Twitter, okay? So it's not like I'm revealing some secret message or anything. Again, it's literally just what I have seen from what they're tweeting and teasing to us. But I'm hopeful that we may see an Onward port to PSVR 2. I know, controversial take here, but that's my NightFire's take, okay? So take with that what you want. Get the rumor mill going. I don't care. I mean, why would they tease? What's the point of teasing that? You know? Is there other head? I mean, I'm trying to. There's maybe some other PC headsets that do favorited rendering. But which ones have eye tracking? Does Varo have eye tracking? I don't know. So you know, that's like. So the PSVR 2 idea could be completely wrong because there could be another headset that has favorited rendering. Maybe they're teasing a new headset that's going to have favorited rendering with eye tracking. I don't know, okay? But I'm just hitting you with theories while I buy time until we get into this next round. So that's that. Go ahead and get the team to go ahead. And they didn't need me to say it. They're ready to go. Enough of the tin foil. Get it off the heads, unwrap it. Let's get back into the action. BossFight in blue, NFI in orange. NFI defending. As it's their opponent's map pick, their opponent will be attacking, and our first objective gonna be a tough one to defend. Dead center, in the middle of the courtyard with little cover. Protect yourself. Hard to attack as well, and so we're curious to see how BossFight is going to approach this one. Are they going to continue to run away with this series and deny NFI an opportunity to get some rounds? Pretty quick and confident advance up through the center. There isn't any initial heavy pushing up into the north, but there is 04 here. Drone was up, and so 04 took down the drone, denying it any additional info, but does give away their position. And you already see some free fire here from Scooby and Shook as they do end up crossing in behind that wall. 04 is going to completely drop back. How far do they drop back is the question. That's what Shook and Scooby are wanting, as Scooby sends over them to a 3-nade onto the corner.
Yeah. I'm going to try to hold it quick. You going right? You going right or left?
Yeah, I'll go right, I'll go right.
I'm poking now.
Yeah, they do not know where 04 is. Down goes Scooby as 04 rotates to the backside. Very good movement here. Shoot and move. That's the key to throwing off an opponent like BossFight, and it's what 04 is doing very well. Shook here now Shook. Not sure where their attacker could be coming from. Seemingly still pretty confident that 04 is here on the short corner. What's a big nade? Not quite long enough. Shook did have to run away from it, though. Now Shook could potentially push up here. Be a threat to Shadow soon. Radar taking shots to the back of 04. As Shadow is just a few inches away. Shook does find the tight corner. Gets rid of Shadow. Radar has an open point here from the center, but is aware that 04 is over in that north. Do it here, watching through the middle. Jittery on the underside could pop up at any moment. Sayonara and Leggle have Overwatch, and Leggle is going to find a kill on a Deadshot. A nice refrag from Do It up through the middle there. Sayonara doesn't have vision from the two-story.
I kill him.
They will now.
Okay.
At least briefly. Sayonara also aware of that potential threat. Jittery here in the middle. Shook catches 04 on the other side. Jittery takes shots up to the top. That's going to give their position away to Radar. Meanwhile, on the backside, we're going to have to keep an eye on Shook. They could be pushing into this objective from the back. Be very cautious about this rotation. How far does Shook go as well is my question. Maybe they're going to rotate around here to confirm Deadshot first. Yep, down goes Deadshot. Do it. Catches radar trying to push up through the middle, and so it leads us into a 2v2. And Shook is going to have the back of Just Do It nicely there. Jittery List is now alone. Only a tall order to hold down the objective here. .215 on the clock, so a lot of time to work with. Sayonara has dropped off their two-story position, and Shook and Sayonara are slowly pinching in here on Jittery. It's all just a matter of timing it up right. And do they know that Jittery is inside the objective building right now? Sayonara almost has a line. They're slowly clearing out off that corner of the tank, now pushing up through the center. Jittery is not going to allow a cap to come through here, but they are blinded off that flash. No, they're rotating around. Jittery's on the other side, and they're going to catch Sayonara trying to cap. An aggressive move. That puts Jittery now into a 1v1 with Shook as their only attacker left to go up against. And on the corner, it's going to be a trade, and NFI are granted their first point. Finally going into the way, or into their favor off of the trade. And the skunk is no more. Ooh, classic rage quit story coming in from Tomfoolery. Hate to see it, but thankfully there's plenty of players out there looking for teams. Gotta find the right one that fits into the overall squad vibe. The vibes are always important. Remember that. Round one, though, going nicely into NFI's hands, albeit barely. They'll swap to the attack, and BossFight will have to defend, and NFI could be doing a little reversal here. We could be seeing another 4-0 this way of NFI on BossFight's map pick, although I find that a little bit unlikely, considering how well BossFight know Quarantine. I also see that I have a marriage request coming in. You know, I'll think about it. That's all, that's, you know. Appreciate it, though. And a bit of a longer time here between rounds. Maybe BossFight trying to regather themselves after a bit of a tougher round. Checking quickly to make sure we're not going into a timeout or anything, because that certainly could be something, a tactical timeout. But back into the action we go. NFI on the board. Only took them a whole map, but here they are. We'll see if they can get any more points, or if BossFight are going to be putting up a strong fight. We're seeing some early defensive smokes, and these could be bait smokes, you know, to make the team think that you have someone placed deep south, or real smokes to actually get Sayonara here safely across the street, because again, BossFight does not know where NFIs have initially spawned. It's only after they gather information like Sayonara crossing the street without getting shot that they know where the offense is at what time. It's all about timing, and Sayonara doesn't time up the cross right in the south, and they do go down. NFI have another early lead, 5v4.
Are you reservoir or not?
like it's just smart to keep an eye on radar, considering how much in the action they were yesterday, or yesterday, last round. Just do it, catches Shook. Nice teamwork there. Comms were obviously coming in from the north side to do it.
Okay.
Dead shot there communicating that information, or 04 who potentially saw that cross.
Everyone quiet. There is one southeast holding wall. There is one behind the southmost building. That's where you push. Okay, if you're defending.
And obviously a very hectic and communicative team. Radar goes down. 04 finds a nice line. BossFight are having a tough time on quarantine. Finally, something good.
I have to go.
As Lego finds one. Good for BossFight. I root for no one.
I killed the guy. I killed the guy crossing. I killed him.
Do it. Finishes Sayonara. And BossFight have two with radar resable. Scooby not likely to be able to get that res. There's no smoke or anything to cross it.
One north is dead. There is one more north somewhere and one more somewhere ABJ. Let's go for the cap, guys.
Did we kill the center guy? The hole?
No, but we can close. We can flash.
And NFI are feeling confident, but this overconfidence could put them into a position where they run into a very bad spot. Radar gets res, so it's a 3v4, and they don't necessarily have a clean bill of health here to cross. Radar could easily pop out and peek through that hole in the wall. Lego doesn't have a line until they cross the street, and so they, if anything, they have the late angles. Oh, when Lego crosses there, do it, doesn't see that rotation. It's a big cross that goes blind. Just do it. They're going to see Lego cross again is the question. No, they're not. Lego's inside the objective building. Scooby's on the bottom floor. This rotation from BossFight's looking good. Down goes Jittery on the north side. Suddenly it's a 3v3. Suddenly the cap doesn't seem like such a good idea. You got to go for the kill. Shadow does find one, but the refrag onto radar.
I killed one south.
I say refrag because it's the second time radar has gone down. And now it is just left to two, Scooby and Lego. With 04 and Scooby inches away. 04 wins that trade, and it puts Lego alone in a 1v3, but haven't we seen this work out for them before? Off meta position again. Corner of APC. Finds 04, just do it, takes shots. Shadow Warrior pushes in behind the smoke. They're going for the cap. Lego doesn't anticipate this. NFI are up 3-0. Sometimes you clutch and sometimes you need to get kicked. Just kidding. You never kick someone after a solid defensive attempt like that from Lego, but a great smoke, beautiful suppression, drawing the attention of Lego. I don't even think Lego noticed that there was a smoke on objective and the cap was coming through because of how focused and tunneled they were on the smoke and the LMG fire. And so NFI, they want to take this to a map 3 decider. The predictions coming in. I'm obviously around behind, but boy, are you guys wrong. 4-0 BossFight. 0-4 BossFight. Same thing. Bilankan says you're both right. So, playing both sides. BossFight 4-0. Maybe you put out the wrong energy, folks, because it is the opposite here, as no fun intended are looking to 4-0 BossFight. As we go to our next objective in the north, in NFI defense. I mean, they just have to tuck in. I say just, as if that's easy against a team like BossFight that knows how to push into a tucked-in defense, but wow. They are a defensive round away from taking quarantine and taking this to their map pick for map 3. If you are new to the channel, please hit that follow button. We're always looking to add more folks into the Onward space. It is continuously growing, and there is new content ahead. If you pay any attention to the roadmaps that they've been putting out and the situation, the sit reps, excuse me, is what I should be calling them, you know, there is some new stuff ahead. So very excited about that, how that will impact or get incorporated into the league, if it does at all. And so, yeah, it's definitely stuff to look forward to down the pipe for the casual player base, but obviously Season 14 is here, and Week 2 is delivering with this game right now. NFI, interestingly, pushing up on their defense, taking control of crash building and not necessarily doing it to have vision down into the east of the map. And with this spawn, BossFight do have control of the east. We're going to have to zip over to Legal, who is danger close to Shadow. Drone coming in, trying to get information. Legal is here and looking for a piece of the pie. Shadow Warrior on the other corner. Managed to push out before Lego could get a line in. Question becomes is, will this team be ready for this rotation from Shadow? And will Shadow be ready for Shook here? Pushing up rapidly onto the short corner. Shook should be checking. They're not going to actually be able to see. Sometimes players will tuck into the tight corner and you can see through the crack there. But Shadow, wary of that as a potential identification point. And Shook looks through, doesn't see anything. Shadow stays still. And both offense and defense are covering the same angle. We'll be right back to this as 04. And now Jittery List catches another. BossFight go down to 3. Shadow Warrior swings up to catch Shook trying to prime a smoke. Waited to hear the grenade sound to guarantee that their opponent had their gun down to ensure that it would not be a trade, and then finds the shots. And now Lego's here with a smoke deployed. And if anything, that's throwing Shadow off, or that's throwing Lego off a little bit. Why is there a smoke here? They don't see their down teammate either because the smoke's blocking them, and so they may not be getting a full picture of where exactly Shadow could be here. Nonetheless, it is important that Shadow gets identified by Lego because they are and have been a key shooter for this BossFight team. NFI, though, are just 2 kills away from running away with this. My question becomes is, where is the other attacker? I believe it's Scooby right up the middle.
Behind the red.
Identified there. Shadow pops up, has a very clean line onto Lego if they try to rotate around here. Lego is not likely to be checking this angle either, so whenever they push out, they're going to be looking down range here. They're going to anticipate this smoke has denied vision. And it indeed has not with Shadow here. Rotates out, and Shadow finds the shots, albeit a few missed ones first. It's all up to Scooby to try and clutch up a big comeback on Quarantine, and Deadshot's gonna find him. Shots come in, don't connect. Scooby's still alive, but just barely. They're gonna push in through the center. Smoke's coming in, flashes, utility, nades, grenades, C4, smokes. Scooby tucks in, and Deadshot plays it aggressive. NFI take BossFight's map pick 4-0. What just happened? It's probably what BossFight are thinking. It's probably what everyone in chat's thinking. It's what I'm thinking. Because it is now dead even. 4-4, taking us into a map 3 decider. Pretty sure this is my second game cast this season, because I only did one last week because we had Ultimex preseason finals over the course of the weekend. If you want to get involved in Ultimex, that season starts February 27th. So do be sure to check that out. Free-to-play game. Very fun game. Highly recommend. Very competitive. But obviously Onward as well, right here in front of your face, and a beautiful game that we have ahead of us. We are going to be going into a brief technical sitch here, so I'm going to go ahead and guard your eyes from any secret passcodes as we organize our final lobby. And again, I appreciate everyone tuning in, hanging out, enjoying the action today. A shout out quickly to our sponsors, Pro2 VR, one of our longest sponsors for VRML. They offer fantastic stocks and mounts that help stabilize your aim in-game. They also have haptic feedback mounts that actually enhance your immersion. They have pistol haptic feedback mounts for games like Half-Life Alyx. They have stocks for all kinds of a variety of boast, they got everything. So do go and check out Pro2 VR for any of your mount needs. And if you do want to enhance that immersion, I highly recommend it. VR Cover, again, a longtime sponsor for VRML, providing us with fantastic face cushions for all of our winners, with greatly enhance the comfort of any of your time out in VR. Here, looks like we have it. I have to quickly download the map because it is a custom map. Means we're headed to Shipyard for map number 3. I know some of you were thinking Arctic. I certainly was. But it is going to be Shipyard. Luckily, we're on an MVME, and we are quickly installing the map and should be jumping in. Instantly. I'm not sure who the map developer is for Shipyard, but it's good to be back. It's been, well, it feels like now, I guess how long has it been? Was it season 11 we did custom maps? The whole season 12 of no custom maps, and now they're back for, or no season 13 of custom maps either? Did we do them in 12? How can you expect me to remember? Okay, I've cast so many games. But anyway, it's good to see Shipyard back into the rotation here. We are going to get ready to jump into it for our final map. It is going to be NFI on the offense and BossFight defending for round 1, because it is No Fun Intended's map pick. Taking another quick look at chat, see if we got any new folks popping in. I see Oasis in here, Miro, Haywire, Zamboni, Pepperoni. Welcome in, welcome in. And again, if you are new, please hit that follow button. If you have a Twitch Prime available, we'd love to see you drop that Twitch Prime sub. That support comes back to us, the Casting Desk production team, a little bit to the moderators from time to time, and so do please help support. If you can, we do appreciate it if you do end up dropping that Twitch Prime sub. If you can't, though, a follow is just as good. And if you've already followed, thank you so much. Appreciate you having it around. Be sure to catch more games, because there is, frankly, quite a lot of them. We have maybe, if not the most active casting team we've had in several seasons at the start of a season. So we're covering tons of games. Onward channels 1, 2, and 3 have been used already so far this season, and we're only obviously at the tail end of week 2, so we're very active this right now, and I do recommend that you follow and be sure to catch all of the action that does come across from a variety of casters, a variety of talent. I also, again, would recommend checking out Blaston and Ultimex, 2 free-to-play games with seasons starting in February. More will be announced around the prize pool soon to come, but for now it's free, and pretty active communities playing those games. Some very skilled players that you could definitely pick their brains on strategy and meta. I mean, Ultimex in that case has only been out for maybe 4 months, 5 months, so there's still plenty of room to develop a meta as well, and so really looking forward to Season 1 when that kicks off for Ultimex, but Season 2 of Blaston is the first season we'll have for Blaston since it's been free. So a lot of hype around those 2 titles coming up in February with their season starting, so do be sure to check that out. If you're looking for more, obviously if you're here, you should be checking out Onward as well. You can join this league for free if you have the game. Head on over to VRML.com, sign up, register a team, or look for teams that are recruiting and see if you can join. Oftentimes teams will have you do scrimmages with them or recruit rounds, stuff like that, so do be on the lookout. Also recommend hopping into the Discord if you do want to be able to chat it up with more folks and, again, find more teams looking for players. But we're into the action here. I bought enough time. NFI on the attack, BossFight on the defense. Our first objective, the Deep East, tucked inside the building. An easy one to defend, but we'll see if that still holds true as NFI start to push in. A little control here by Jitteryless gained over the ship. Quick overhead tells us that they do have a nice spread. Dead shot over in that far north. Just do it here. Pairing up with Jittery. And clearing the ship is definitely a risky task. With this objective, they should feel relatively safe that no one's here, but sometimes players will get aggressive, push up, defend on several different levels. They also obviously have to be cautious of the cross angles here from Sayonara and Legal. Holding through these slices and waiting for anyone to push in from that ship. Means that the bottom floor would seem open but shook. Is prone and has cover here. Also a little angle underneath the truck there, so in case 04 pushes in, they'll be able to catch ankles before 04 sees anybody. Overall, a solid defensive setup, and it's going to require some utility from NFI, which I imagine they're very aware of.
One bottom warehouse. I might have got him, unsure.
Need a 5.
First shots coming in from BossFight. Radar from dead center and through the objective over to this ship. Oh, not sure where we went there. .04 taking shots up through the center, but really just a little bit of poking and prodding so far. I don't know that Shook saw anybody on the shots they took, but Jittery and do make it across. A lot of shots coming towards Legal, but nothing connecting there. Shadow Warrior does catch one. Shook
I got you, bro.
does get just do it.
I know. I in front of you.
Yeah, you got him.
Oh, that's nice support from the bottom floor as they're focused on suppressing the top. They were not ready for this angle to the hole in the wall. A nice pickup from Shook. Still though, just do it has crossed. Dead shots flying in. They managed to make it past Shook's line.
One in front of the 16-wheeler, in front of middle building.
Or if Shook is going to stick around. Jittery catches a big kill on the Legal. Second floor goes down. It opens up the entry point down into the objective. Scooby is holding the late angle, but they have control of shipyard essentially now. Shook won't be able to effectively peek or poke out towards the shipyard. If anything, they're going to have to drop back and defend. And so Radar, Shook, and Scooby have to give up some ground here, which is indeed what they're doing. Scooby nearly goes down with their legs poking out around the corner, going prone. Aid comes in. It's a nice toss. A little too far, though. Almost airbursted. A counter over to Jittery doesn't quite tag them. A flash over the top doesn't catch 04. That flash might have, though. Buying time with those flashes is what BossFight are doing. Shadow finds an angle from very deep on the radar. Up through the center. A very nice Overwatch line there. How do they root out Scooby is the question, though. Force sees them there. They know Scooby's in the corner. Scooby's going to swing. They're going to go down. 04 will be resable. It means that Shook is alone in the back corner. Oh, and Jittery catches the shot from the stairs. NFI. 5 unanswered points so far. Looking good on their map pick here as they take the early lead. Quick look at the overall score line if you are just stopping by. Tipic, thank you for coming in with that gifted sub. We appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. Who got that gifted sub? Hey, Rob. Ooh. Congratulations on your sub. Welcome in. solid map 3, solid series that we're into here today. Again, I do appreciate you all stopping by and enjoying the action. Bit of time here. BossFight need to regather themselves. Again, 5 unanswered points so far. What strategy will they be deploying here is the question. Is it going to be... I anticipate it to be a pretty coordinated smoke effort where they're going to be blocking off one side of the map and pushing in through it. But NFI are looking very good right now. They played solid defense on quarantine. Been winning Marsoc rounds. They've finally taken a lead on their map pick. And so BossFight definitely have their backs against a wall right now. Into round 2 we go as we swap sides. NFI defend and BossFight attack. Again, on the Marsoc side, you're not sure where you'll spawn, so you can see BossFight have a different spawn point than NFI did. It puts them with more control over the ship earlier, and it's why, if you're on the NFI team, you can't necessarily invest in a defender pushing up to this shipyard. Just do it, does get one, but not before they're quickly refragged. Sayonara catches that kill. I suppose you can take the risk, but 1 for 1. Meanwhile, Jittery has pushed up pretty far forward. Right in the middle of the map. Deadshot with a clean line on Sayonara if they try and push out. But we've seen some very good headshots going in. Both teams so far today. Deadshot in particular has been shooting well. There goes Sayonara. Deadshot does find that kill. Gives away their position. Smoke comes out and a quick peek from Jittery. Finds the back of Leggold as they swing outside. Shook. Defended by Scooby on the back end. Not going to get pushed in after being flashed. And it is a 2v3. BossFight fighting chance here. I don't know what the... Maybe to try and... For an audio distraction if they had gotten closer to Deadshot or Shadow. Deadshot finds the headshot again. Scooby goes down and Shook's alone in a 1v3. Smoking out their opponent here. They push too far out. Deadshot has an angle, and that's going to be the whole boat there. 3 kills. In round number 2, and NFI have 6 points unanswered. What a reversal here. BossFight coming out the gate with such a powerful amount of momentum, shutting down NFI with some big clutch comebacks. But NFI seemed to regain some footing and prevented any more of those clutch comebacks from coming in for the last 6 rounds. And so they now are looking at series point if they can find themselves a cap here. This objective in particular, definitely vulnerable to one. And so I'm sure NFI are thinking cap. They've gone for cap before, and it nearly cost them the round. They did get the cap, though, and go up 3-0 on quarantine, so I anticipate they will also still go for the cap, but it may just be circumstantial depending on how many picks they have, how many are alive, stuff like that, if they have that confidence in pushing. Otherwise, you could see a 3-0 or a 2-1. BossFight getting back in this off a defensive round would be nice. There is no guarantees. And man, what a series to jump into here this afternoon. Happy that I stopped by. We're here and enjoying, again, good quality Onward. Season 14. Man, off to a very good start. Happy to be casting, and if you are thinking about casting, we do have open casting applications. If we haven't responded to your application, we should be getting to them shortly here. And if we have enough, bringing in a new batch of casters, but you know, we do have some quality standards, and so if we did submit an app and you can't stream Onward, then you may not necessarily be able to utilize all of your talents. Into the action we go, though, for round number 3. Yes, 3D, and if I haven't gotten a cap yet, I say yet, but have to get past Sayonara, and the defense here, and Nade comes in. It's a nice toss, and it's cooked just long enough. The flash comes up and blinds Just Do It. Sayonara has a chance to push in. Just Do It tucks in. Sayonara swings wide, and Shadow is on the overwatch. Nicely there to deny Sayonara from pushing in. Jittery is rezzed, and the chaos on the ship is well for now. As I say that, Radar wants a little bit more. Big swing from Just Do It. Trades between the two of them. Scooby in the middle goes down. And Shook and Lego are suddenly alone in defending this objective. Shook is crashing to Scooby. Great oversight from Lego as Shook rotates, and suddenly it's a 3v3. NFI no longer at advantage.
East stairs. There's a guy stairs of the last objective roof.
Fufu swings on Scooby and finds the shots. 2v2. Shook's gonna reinforce, doesn't find 04 on the cross.
Middle staircase.
Jittery's gonna rotate off of ship, reinforce 04. Uh-oh, that's a friendly. Almost. Nice shots from Jittery. 04 checks their tablet and realizes it's a friendly there, and it's a 2v1. NFI are looking to take 7 unanswered points here unless Shook can do something about it. Big rotation here too, and doesn't want to get too far away from objective because that is game, set, match if they do. Oh, Jittery almost finds Shook. Shook gets the quick heal in after being slowed down from bullet impact and is able to tuck in. Sees 04 at the top, can't quite connect on those shots, and 04 is going to peek for the kill.
Give me a hug, my love.
Yes.
Celebratory kiss. NFI takes 7 points. Love to see the love between players there. And a Very good place for NFI to be in now. After taking a Marsoc win, they go and defend. BossFight could be mounting the comeback here as they go onto the attack, because again, this objective is not easy to defend. It is cappable. Plenty of cover around it, and so it's easy to kind of slither your way into those points of cover and be punching in the code, and so you really have to make sure that you do have eyes on multiple angles at all times. The challenge, of course, is getting into that box and getting close to the objective. But if there's ever a team to be able to do it with some good smoke plays, BossFight would be that team. Still, though, 7 unanswered points here, and NFI is really on a tear. BossFight need to start figuring out what to do to get themselves back into this. I'm sure it's what they're talking about now as they try and strategize their offensive route. You do have a limited amount of time, though, 2 minutes between, or a minute and a half between rounds, and so eventually they have to get into the action as we go into round number 4 on map 3. Series point for NFI. BossFight have to mount a long comeback.
Let's do it.
Oh my goodness. Perfectly timed nade. Jittery follows it up with a quick peek, and they're going to catch one. Shots from second story don't connect, and Jittery has control of the other side of the ship. BossFight are down 1 early. Could have been down 2 with a great timed nade. A C4 from Shadow comes flying over the top corner, and 2 go down. Jittery is going to be able to clean this up. Where's the defense? Where's the rotation? Lego's nowhere near. And if anything, Lego has to now push up alone as they take shots to 04. They give away their position. Dead shot and Jittery could be crashing behind. Shadow has an angle from the 3-story if they so choose, and Just Do It's going to be the one to find it off of some fantastic aggression. NFI take 8 in a row, and they will go up 4-0 in map 2. I'm not sure anyone saw that one coming in the connoisseur boats, but what a comeback from NFI to take the full series. Don't think I have any other comments outside of shouting out DPI for always supporting the VRML. Do appreciate the mod team there, and very much looking forward to, again, those future updates this year in particular. I think they're going to be pretty good, so keep the fingers crossed and see what we get. But for now, it's going to be it. I think today. We might have a game later tonight, but it's not going to be cast by me. We do have a game Sunday night, 5 p.m. PST. That's going to be a big NA matchup with Animal House battling it out. I think they have a pretty new roster, too, so do be sure to tune in to check that out. That's going to be another good series, and I mean, heck, any game I've been in so far has gone down to a map 3 decider, so let's keep riding that luck for tomorrow. But that's going to be it for me here so far. My name has been NightFiree with 2 E's. I do thank you all for hanging out and enjoying the action. Do be sure to check out Ultimex and Blaston's season debut. Ultimex on February 27th. Blaston somewhere close by. I can't remember what the exact date is. Do be checking those 2 games out as those seasons start. They'll be featured at VRMLCon alongside Echo Arena, which season has already begun. So do be sure to get involved in those leagues and those games if that's something that interests you, of course. Otherwise, we'll always be on the lookout for new games to be adding into the VRML book, the VRML arsenal. And obviously, we have a full season of Onward ahead of us, so get involved in the Onward season right now. Free to enter in if you have the game. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me. My name's NightFiree with 2 E's. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, until tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST, stay classy.